With all the praise being showered upon Yash for the Ramayan trailer, the one project that people are still hesitant on and skeptical about is Toxic. I want to already preface, yes, I got an invitation to go for the event in Bangalore. I did not reply to the email, and I have deemed it fit that unless it is an interaction with the cast or the director, a lot of these events are essentially a lot of waiting, a lot of people staring at you, asking you, what do you think? And a very reciprocal relationship, largely dependent on you having a good time and being grateful for someone doing khatirdari. I don't have anything against the PR companies who do these events and call as many influencers as they can. You do you, but post Kalki, I've just come to the conclusion that my proximity with anyone associated with the film should only extend to it being an interview that you guys see on the channel. Now that we have put that aside, before people already accuse me of having a vendetta or being jealous because I'm not invited, to say that Toxic has had an oscillating journey ever since its first look dropped would be an understatement. I mean, we went from a first birthday look that dropped in January of 2025, another birthday teaser the next year where gunshots were choreographed with the girls. We had multiple release dates getting postponed owing to slightly dubious reasons, versus there ever being clarity, loads of speculation of who is directing the film, and just being left somewhat in the dark of what is this film even about. The appeal remained consistent with the songs set in the backdrop of Goa, a state that was still dealing with Portuguese rule after British imperialists had left India, and what we were seeing was presumably illegal trade, a mafia plot, some raunchy romantic dynamics with some real daddy issues. With all the chatter associated with the film and it being certain that the movie is now going to release on the 26th of August, the day is finally here where the trailer drops and we have some clarity, and oh boy, is this a doozy. I have not seen a trailer that has had such wild swings and which has an editing pattern that consistently caught me off guard. Let's treat this with sincerity and actually analyze rather than be dismissive like 90% of the internet. By the way, I must tell you that if this trailer had dropped just after the birthday peak, had we actually not seen the atrocious ladies and ladies announcement, I swear to God, people would be more hopeful for this project than everyone unanimously assuming that this will be a train wreck. It still blows my mind on how anyone in their right mind approved that edit. Anyway, so let's discuss the good and bad aspects of the trailer. Let's be honest, the film fans will tune in irrespective of the quality on the opening weekend. This is Yash's next outing after KGF. He spent over 5 years to develop this, star in it, produce it, and eventually co-write it too. It can't be a complete train wreck, so let's dive deep. Goa and its interesting history. One of the most interesting elements that actually really draws me into this project is its geographical backdrop. You are looking at Goa that dealt with Portuguese rule for over 400 years. You had a state in the mainland of India that dealt with an odd autonomous existence, and even when British imperialists had left the country and India gained independence, you had 14 years of Portuguese rule, international trade taking place within the state, and an interesting combination of a population that was still faithful to the Portuguese rule, even after India got back what was rightfully theirs after Operation Vijay. The state that dealt with economic prosperity due to trade, consistent social, political and religious changes due to the European imperialists and Catholic conversions, all of these developments gives a unique existence to the state, which I believe allows for it to be perfect as a backdrop of a violent mafia and illegal trade tale. Everyone dismisses the existence of Goa primarily for its beaches and appeal as a tourist location, not realizing the oscillating journey that the state experienced, especially since the 1920s all the way up to 1961, where it became a part of India, really makes it a culturally and historically rich location, and I hope Geethu Mohandas really amplifies the significance of it versus it just working for aesthetic purposes. I mean, if you see Muthon and Liar's Dice, the locations of these movies were characters themselves, and I hope Goa's presence is more than just something that looks pretty on the big screen, at least in the portions that we see the rise of Raya with what seems to be Nayanthara. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. If you were paying attention to the trailer, you would realize that the editing pattern on Ravi Basroor's music is nothing but the fluff, something that momentarily distracts, intrigues you, for the visuals are striking because in the midst of all of this madness and so many sequences being cut rapidly, the plot of the film is also etched out from start to finish. Yes, that is one aspect of the trailer that I have a gripe with. They have explored all the major beats of the screenplay in the trailer itself, from the experiences of Raya and what seems like a Muh Boli Behen in the form of Nayanthara, their aspiration to rule Goa, the conflict that arises as Yash goes toe-to-toe with the rival gangs, cementing his position as a powerful leader, the arrogance that takes over his entire being, something that may possibly lead to his own downfall, a casual relationship relationship with Tara Sutaria, a fling at least on Raya's part takes a momentary halt as he gets drawn towards the new performer in town, Nadia, played by Kiara Advani. An intense affair of course follows, but Raya and his powerful empire takes precedence over anything and anyone. I believe in this process Nadia and her son will never be embraced by Raya, developing a deep resentment and hatred for him. Huma Qureshi seems to be the daughter of the rival gang. The patriarch presumably is killed by Raya, especially in the process of becoming the top dog of Goa, leading to a full-on gang war that ravages the streets of the state with nothing but blood and corpses. I believe in the process of building this empire, burning so many bridges and breaking so many hearts, Raya becomes a deadbeat drunk, a recluse who douses himself in alcohol, not realizing the threat that looms around the corner is his very son. The trump card that Nadia always wanted to play so that he can suffer an ounce of what she has undergone when she believed that they could have had a happily ever after. The young Yash, who seems to be of a rebel army or special forces of some kind, seems to be absolutely unhinged, both physically and psychologically. The seeds that were being sown from a very young age as he noticed his mother suffer at the hands of a father who never embraced him. What seems very clear holistically is that it is not only Nadia who wants Raya's downfall by the end of the film. It is Huma Qureshi, the rival gang leader's daughter whose father was killed. It is Tara Sutaria who was treated as a side piece, and it may even be Nayanthara who rose with Raya to rule Goa but may have noticed that as the years have gone by, he has become more of a liability than an asset to their growing empire and influence. This is where Geethu Mohandas's presence becomes clear, where the women are not just damsels in distress who get screwed over by Raya but take their own sweet personal revenge too. As the point I made, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and I believe all four women will vow for his downfall by the end of the film. Rukmani Vasant still seems like a mystery to me in terms of her influence in the story, beyond being absolutely traumatized with the attire Raya deemed fit to wear for a meeting, but I guess that is something that we will find out when you tune in for the film on what is her significance specifically. I must say, from the glimpses that we have seen, I am genuinely so impressed by Kiara Advani specifically. You see this deranged energy of a woman who just wants the world to burn at this point. If you see her body language in Tabahi, you see a woman who is hopeful of a beautiful life with Raya forever, but the experiences that she may endure makes her a vengeful, scorned woman, and you see it in the manic state that she embodies in the trailer. Huma also in a moment of rage stands out, possibly having dealt with her father getting killed at the hands of Raya, laughing in one frame, possibly celebrating the fact that Raya may be writing his own death note. Sanjeeda Sheikh was quite a surprise in the trailer too. She might be the madam who engages in child trafficking and who Yash and Nayanthara kill before escaping her abuse. Yash and his performance is key. I've seen a few performances of Yash beyond KGF. I've seen Googly, I've seen Gaj Kesari because I wanted to see how Kannada cinema deals with scale, but of these performances that I saw, I did not particularly see a dramatic range in Yash's performances. There is a casual swagger about him, yes, there is an intensity that he brings to the action scenes, but I have particularly not seen an emotional range even in KGF. I would love to know from Kannada cinema viewers of what they believe is Yash's best acting performance in his career, because I would love to watch it. And I mention all of this because the key component that can in any shape or form make this project work is if the emotional resentment between the father and son works effectively, and for that Yash features in a double role as a father and son. I actually, quite on the contrary on what people may think, was drawn to the opening scene of a son pleading to his father, asking for forgiveness, and Yash being torn and ending it for good. However, when this movie trailer presents its screaming pitch in the concluding moments of the trailer, I slightly get worried that the unhinged route that it may take may just border on being loud versus emotionally effective. Say what you want about the screenplay and inconsistencies of Animal or whatever problematic moral stance it takes, a lot of its emotional resonance stems from the conviction brought in the deranged and toxic relationship shared between Ranbir Kapoor and Anil Kapoor as son and father respectively. Yash and Prashant Neel since KGF have mentioned on how obsessed they have been as artists with the filmography of Amitabh Bachchan, and how a consistent feature in those tales was the emotional wedge between fathers and sons. This can only work with a solid emotional performance by two characters played by Yash himself, and the trailer, at least for now, presents quite an inconsistent pitch for me personally. The last movie that I know that nailed it from start to finish in a screenplay was Mahan. That was a movie by Karthik Subbaraj that is so slept on, and I would highly recommend it to all of you. The biggest problem, however, in this wild swing of a movie is what we have previously experienced with a film. And you know exactly which film I'm talking about. Telugu fans, too many moving elements and wild creative swings. Let me refresh your memory. When we sat for Saho, especially in the first half, you were in it wholeheartedly and genuinely engaged with the events that transpire. You bought into the fictional city of Vaji, the politics and the crime syndicate, and this undercover mysterious cop cracking the case. The sad reality is that the movie in the second half went into 20 directions, leaving us confused and exhausted rather than engaged and on the edge of our seats. The number of twists, the implausible action set pieces, it's as if the makers had gold in their hands but did not know what to do with it by the end of it. Similarly, this tale on a rise of an orphan in the big bad world of Goa post India's independence is extremely exciting. To see a gang war, action and bloodshed like The Godfather in a backdrop like Goa is a great premise. How one becomes arrogant with power and develops more enemies and possibly even rats within his own organization is when I get even more interested. But when I see that Kiara is playing the long haul game with the son avenging the years of trauma she endures and this battle happening in snow-capped mountains out of nowhere, I just hope it does not have the indulgent Saho, Jagga Jasus, Zero, and so many film problems, where the director scales up to such a level where the audience exclaims that what was even the point of moving to the Himalayas for this battle? The conflict between the father and son on their home turf, Goa, while his empire is declining, would have been equally effective. But why do I fear this is the O Romeo problem, where when any commercial movie is being made, the makers believe climax to matlab out of this world hona chahiye. Should it be plausible? Nah. Just think big. Make Daoud a matador and set an action set piece in a gladiator-like setting in Spain. Do we really need to go there? Yes, बड़ा होना चाहिए. Or like Zero, you know, ये सर vertically challenge वाली जो story है मेरठ से मुंबई तक ठीक है, but ये NASA का Mars का mission जरूरी है क्या? हाँ बस होना चाहिए. Similarly, this desperate need to scale up, even if the stories don't need it, is something I fear when I see these snow-capped mountains with horses and what seems like a plane as massive as Air Force One. How are so many armies coming together to battle for what seems like a father-son conflict? What compels so many people to battle here? I think the answer lies in what Raya's son is capable of, and his introduction killing a host of rebels in a jungle may give us an answer. Just on a side note, so you can shoot in a real jungle, huh? This is not an excuse, right? In this absolutely psychedelic editing pattern of the trailer, there is one thing that this film truly successfully does. It does intrigue me, I won't lie. The pattern almost feels like provide the audience with such wild swings, be out there with such conviction that they will be so weirded out, so confused, so speechless that nothing but curiosity will make them tune in on the opening weekend just to see what has Yash and Geethu Mohandas actually cooked up. There is a lot riding on this project, a huge budget after so many delays and a scale and expectations from Yash after KGF that are just through the roof. I fear that there may be too many elements, the case of too many cooks spoil the broth, that may hamper this project, but just the commitment to the wild and atrocious is apparent in every frame. I respect it. A wild swing can only have an extreme reaction and no in between. Appreciation for the audacity or a complete misfire. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the Toxic trailer. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handles are right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.